It's 95 degrees outside and all of a sudden your power goes out and with it goes the AC. What do you do to make sure that you do not end up a puddle of sweat? I'm going to start from easiest, cheapest ways and go kind of work my way up to more expensive. Step one is going to be if you live in a two-story house, you are just going to start hanging out on the bottom floor, heat rises. Next, any windows that are in direct line of afternoon sun, close those blinds, close those curtains. If you want to take it a step further, you can grab some blackout curtains. These will keep the house so much cooler because it cuts down on the sun heating everything up. The next thing to consider is what type of clothes you're wearing. So loose fitting clothing that are made of natural fibers, meaning cotton, linen, no polyester and things like that, are going to breathe. Of course, we all know you should have water. However, if it is really hot and you are just sweating buckets, drinking a ton of water can actually be counterproductive and a little bit dangerous if you drink enough water. So I always recommend getting some type of electrolytes. You can get anything that you like and adding this into your water so that you're not getting super dehydrated. You're keeping everything balanced. Another thing to do with those water bottles is go ahead and put a few in the freezer. They're going to freeze and then they'll act as ice packs. So if the power completely goes out, they're going to help keep the food in your freezer cold. But if your AC is just out and your power is still on, you can take those out. They're going to be freezing cold. You can hold them against your neck, all your pulse points. You can drink them eventually as they melt for really cold water, and that will really help to cool you down. Talking about food, I always recommend having some type of easy meals, snacky meals that you can literally just grab out of your pantry and eat. The last thing you want to do if your house is 85 or 90 degrees inside is have to cook, turn on the oven or the stove. It's going to make it so much hotter. Getting into things that you can buy, I always recommend everybody has battery powered fans. The next thing is to get a pack of these cooling towels. They're basically just these little towels. If you ever played sports, you've probably seen them, but you just run this underwater, you get it wet, and then you take it and you just snap it a couple times like this. And somehow, I don't know how it works magically, it gets pretty cool. You can also take these things when they're wet with the cool and you can put them over the fan. This fan's a little bit small, but if you have a bigger fan, then the air coming out of the fan will go through this cooling layer and the air coming out will be a little bit cooler to help cool you down. You can also just take a bowl of ice and set it in front of a fan and it will help to kind of cool the air down because it will blow over the ice. You can also buy the first aid ice packs is what I call them, but they're the instant ice packs. They just have the little crystals that you squeeze and then they get cold. These are amazing. I don't know if this is just like a Florida thing or if it's what it's actually called, but there's something called a swamp cooler where you basically take a styrofoam cooler, or you can use a lot of stuff, but most times people use a styrofoam cooler. You put ice in it, you add a fan, and you can build kind of like a DIY air conditioning unit. Now getting into the more involved things that you can have, and the best prep that I always recommend, but it is an investment, is getting a portable AC, like their window unit or just the inside ones that will cool a single room. I just got one. I am in the process of setting it up now. This is great to have regardless of if the power is out or not. You can keep your house at a slightly higher temperature to save your big AC, and then you can run this in the room that you're in when you're sleeping or things like that, and you don't have to crank your AC down. However, if you're getting into that as like a prep, you want it if the power is completely out and not just your AC. That does involve a little bit more. You're gonna have a generator, but let me know if you guys have any tips. I'd love to hear them. I hate being hot, so let me know in the comments.